The real AI is right here, the artificial intelligence of this dream character self. So, in today's video, I want to dive in to the conversation around artificial intelligence. You probably have already noticed, right, that the spiritual community and maybe even just the world community at large is quite divided about the topic of AI. There is the doom and gloom crowd that's like, oh my God, AI is going to take over our lives. It's taking over our feeds. It's manipulating us, etc. Is that true? It's true. But there's also the other side of this kind of transhumanism where people are envisioning that AI technology merging with human consciousness will be that next level of evolution for us. And then there is all kinds of spectrum in the middle, from people completely unconscious to not caring to being kind of like eyes deep in their algorithms that are already running them. But here's what I want to share with you, because this is the real important part. All of that is almost irrelevant if you consider that we are already completely programmed and guided by artificial intelligence. It is the algorithms of survival that are operating as the voice that you hear in your own mind. Please understand that that voice is not random voice, it's not devil's voice, it's not your voice by any means. And it certainly isn't the voice of the Holy Spirit or the infinite intelligence that is the creator of life. What is that voice? And what is it actually doing? In this video, I really want to help you to unpack and see that artificial intelligence, the algorithmic approach to life, is already running your personal day to day existence. So, how is this happening? Let's think about what AI really is. So, when you think about ChatGPT, for example, what is it actually doing? It is scanning and scraping millions of data points in order to even just predict what you're going to say next, to predict what you're going to type next, right? So, in a very similar way, the artificial intelligence that is the ego sheath or veil or this dream character mind body complex, that is also functioning just like a large language model. It is scanning your past, your traumas, your incomplete emotions, what the Buddhists would call the sanskaras, the incomplete experiences, whatever we want to name it, it is scanning in the name of survival. And so the entire programming is then really operating with this negative bias that is, in essence, interpreting your world through the lens of fear. Yeah. All good and well. Maybe when we are running away from saber-toothed tigers and spears and we're in the middle of true biological survival. But what good is it when you're sitting here in your room, in your office, on your couch, and you are terrorized by what's happening here? Let's zoom in to the actual mechanism. Think about those moments when your mind tells you, oh, they hate you, or they're trying to control you, or bulldozer over you, or they are any number of fill in the blank, right? When you're feeling this, when you're hearing this, and when you're hearing the other side, which, there's this judgment of the world, and then it turns inward and judges seemingly you. Well, it's not you, but it says to you, oh, you are inadequate, or you didn't show up well, or you made that mistake, or because you did that, then this will happen, and this will happen, and this will happen. So think about, what is that function actually? Isn't it the same predictive algorithm that the AI large language models are operating with? It is the very same mechanism where it is predicting, but predicting on behalf of survival programming. In other words, predicting on behalf of fear. And so, as it scans, as it references the past constantly, right? Because there's no other way. The whole premise of the large language models is that they are programmed, right? They are trained on what? Of course, it's on the past, right? As we know from A Course in Miracles, I see only the past is the very foundation of the egoic mind. So if that's the case, then what's actually happening? What is the ego but an algorithm, a predictive algorithm? Now, here's the big, big reveal, right? Here's the problem. And if we can really just have a depth of realization about this, this in and of itself is completely liberating. The problem is not that there is a fear based predictive algorithm. The problem is that we identify ourselves with it. That we, who are essentially, we can look at it like we are the programmers of this algorithm, suddenly forget. It's almost like as if we're wearing a headset. And in this headset, we identify ourselves with the dream character, so to speak, that we have programmed, but also, of course, a lot of that came to us. We didn't, um, you know, come into this world from its seed. We came into a world that's already seemingly fully fledged, and we inherited a body mind that is coming, all of those conversations around ancestral healing and the various aspects that we look about in terms of healing from past impressions or whatever we may say about that, traumas, emotions. That is referencing the fact that there's a sort of a momentum that we have already joined. So when we identify ourselves with this momentum, with this dream character separate self illusion, well, then this is where the pain really takes place. If you could just hear some voice saying, oh, you're not good enough, or they think this, similar to a passerby, right, on the street, somebody passes by and just mumbling these things to themselves, this wouldn't hurt you, right? You wouldn't start to all of a sudden, oh my God, I need to do something about it. So it's the very same premise here. The whole, so to speak, revelation, the whole undoing, unraveling of this illusory prison, seemingly, of negative thoughts, negative perceptions, negative self image is all undone by the recognition that it is not the self. And then further recognition, well, as soon as you can stop identifying with it, you can actually look at it more like an object. And in that case, you can really begin to question it. So I want to take you now through the foundations of, well, how do we actually make sense of this? How does this become practical? A Course in Miracles talks to us about this world as a projection of an unhealed mind, right? We are seeing something that is coming from within, not something out there that needs tinkering and fixing and moving things around so that it becomes the perfect picture, but rather the apparatus with which we are seeing is asking for correction. So it's almost as if we're wearing a headset and we completely forgot, right? This virtual reality headset that is showing us a world in which there's all kinds of unfriendliness. There's this problem, that problem, different things. Oh, they think this about me. Oh, this happened in my past, so that means I am, right? That's whole idea of sin is that the past determines what is now. The past determines what I am. But of course, none of this is true. None of this is true because ultimately we have this layer of egoic algorithm as a layer of software. But what are you? You are the hardware. You are the changeless, ever present awareness, right? You are the infinite self. So, just like, let's say there's a virus on a computer, well, that virus is not going to attack and destroy the screen, right? Even though there is some malware, it is not going to impact the hardware. Let's use this example. So, similarly, you as pure consciousness are not going to be impacted by the ego's perceived threats, the spilled coffee, the apparent lack of respect, or that awkward conversation where you felt like, oh my God, they're going to They're going to find out I'm not as cool or smart or as awesome as I want them to think. None of that impacts or affects the infinite self, the true self that you are. And so, what we essentially want to do is unplug from this deep seated belief that we must listen to this voice and that this voice is truth and that this is our voice. So, how do we do that? In this conversation, I want to give you 3 steps. 3 steps as a framework to look at your subjective experience. And please hear me on this. I want you to please actually try it. Like literally engage with your subjective experience. You can do it as we have this conversation. You can pause the video after each step and contemplate it. Whatever way, but have the experience. Don't let it be more of this mental jargon. So many, so many books, so many videos, so many. I know you have gone through so much. Okay. This is about experience. This is about transformation, not information. So let's do this together. Okay. So step one is going to be for us to, let's call it enter the developer mode, if we want to use the technical jargon, but really, at the core, observer mode, witness mode, right? So as this negative thinking comes about, right? Or is this, I mean, I don't even want to call it negative. It's not that it's negative or positive, it's that it's true or it's not, right? So as it comes out and you hear the voice in your mind, begin to now witness it as in the same way that you might witness a conversation of a passerby. Yeah. So, like you're walking on the street or you're sitting at a cafe and you're sipping your coffee and then you hear a conversation. So, I'd like you to now begin to relate to this experience of thought, the voice in your head, like an external voice, like something is passing by, like a TV is playing, or a radio, or the song of the birds, or the wind through the trees. We're just going to listen, witness it, observe it. So I'd like you to practice now. Right now, it might be more quiet, but especially next time when you feel anxiety or fear, you hear that voice saying to you that something's not right, something's gone wrong, something needs you to become defensive or protective or attack somebody. Simply begin to listen, begin to witness what is actually unfolding here. Like, pause and instead of fully believing it right away, because you wouldn't do that if somebody was sitting at a table in the restaurant next to you, right? And talking about something and you heard something, you're like, oh my God, I have to take action. No, right? And even if it was something that's like not about taking action, maybe it was emotionally stirring and be like, wait, I don't know, I should fact check this. I don't know if it's true, right? So, in that very same way, I want you to begin to witness and hear what's happening without necessarily fully giving into it yet. We're just taking a moment to see now objectively, what is this? Ah, you can feel it right away, by the way. So you can feel if it's peace or if it is fear, right? It's inevitable. I know you know this. From the very first second, you can tell if the thought that's arising is one of peace and expansion and love or one of fear and contraction and closing, right? You know that? That is the emotional guidance system. We want to use it. So, as you behold this and you feel any sense of energetic contraction, say, ah, I'm witnessing the fear algorithm running. This is what it is. Let me see. Let me witness it. Yeah. So very gently. We're not fighting, we're not fixing, because there's nothing to fight or fix out there. Because the moment that you start to try to fight or fix an illusion, you give it reality, and whatever you give reality to has this permanence to it, right? It's the other way of talking about what you resist persists. So we don't do that. We just see it for what it is. It's a voice in your head, right? It's a voice of imagination. Ah, I see. It's running the fear algorithm. Let me just witness what's here. Step two now, right? As you begin to notice this more objectively, and you say, yeah, it's the fear algorithm. It's running a predictive fear simulation, right? Just like what we were exploring with the um, large language models of AI. And here's where you want to actually do the check, right? You want to fact check this news report, right? So here comes this stream of, oh my God, something's gone wrong. And what you're going to do is you're going to say, is it true? Is what true? Its report? No. But is it true that this is danger? Is it true that whatever it's saying, this might happen, this, they think this, ah, is this actual danger or is this simply a thought? This is what I want you to discern in step two. Simple, right? You first witness what's there and then you say, is this real danger? Am I about to die? Does this really warrant survival programming? Oh no. It doesn't matter what they think. I'm not going to die. So, right? We're coming to this awareness, this awakening in the moment of like, wow, what is actually happening? Well, first of all, what's actually happening is I'm hearing a thought. Oh, let's look at this thought. Oh, it's saying that I'm in danger. Seems like I'm all right. Ah, okay. Okay. So I'm not going to die. This is just the ego algorithm trying to protect my identity, which I'm not that identity to begin with. Okay. Awesome. Awesome. And now step three. This is the foundation of A Course in Miracles, and this is the foundation of us waking up and using that opportunity, right? The gift of being triggered by something as this opportunity of awakening. We're going to grasp that opportunity. We're going to make use of it by revoking the permissions of that algorithm, right? We want to talk about that in this, again, technical jargon. It's like for it to have an effect on our system, it must have a permission to do so. So we are going to revoke that permission. And in A Course in Miracles, it's called forgiveness, right? So forgiveness is essentially looking at the illusion and recognizing the illusion as the illusion. It's, that's as simple as it gets, right? Um, so when we meet this moment of here is the arising of thought, now we see, oh, this is just a fear thought. Oh, I see, I'm not in any real danger. And now we look at it from this point of view and we say, ah, okay, thank you for this intel report. I am not interested in taking any action on any of this. I choose to see peace instead. And it's going to say, oh, but. And you say, oh, awesome. I really appreciate you. Thank you so much for bringing this report over to me. I'm not interested in that fear perspective because I know that I'm actually safe. Thank you so much, mind and ego algorithm, for trying to keep me safe. I choose peace now. Okay. I choose peace instead of this. And this is the way, this can essentially open into this prayer to the Holy Spirit and say, hey, please, Holy Spirit, I just realized that was under the hypnosis of this algorithm. And so I actually want your help. Please help me to see peace instead of this, not solve the illusions of separation or whatever it is that the ego is telling me, but help me to see peace. Help me to realize that I've been watching the world through this virtual reality headset, and now I want to see things differently. I know that the power of decision is my own, and so I give you my decision to see this differently, and I ask for your help. Yeah, these are the three steps that you can meet any moment of seeming threat with and begin to completely alchemize it in a way that is about awakening, in a way that is about your freedom, in a way that is about true forgiveness, and in a way that will literally shift the felt sense of what this moment is like for you. So I hope this experience has served you and you got to see that the real AI algorithm isn't out there. It is the ego algorithm right here in your own mind that speaks to you in a voice that seemingly says I, but we know that Ramana Maharshi pointed this out and many others that this is the false I. This is not who you are. But as long as we identify with this I, we are subject to that seeming mind prism and prison and world that is algorithmic in nature and is essentially programmed to serve the dream matrix and not you. So I'd love for you to use these 3 steps. I'd love to hear your feedback in the comments below. Also, maybe you can share what is that fear algorithm, that fake news about threat here in the moment that you experience most commonly in your own subjective experience, because we can really crack the code together if you share and you see other people sharing. You're going to see that there's a commonality to all of this, that none of this is personal. All of it is essentially this programming of the ego dream matrix that we're all collectively tapped into. Truly, truly hope this has been of service. I'd love to hear your questions in the comments below. Also, let me know what else you'd like me to really zero in on so that we can really bring to life the true miracle of our own consciousness. All right. Thank you so much, and I'll see you in the next one.
I'm already love, already joy, already peace, already whole. I see the infinite potential flowing through my soul. God is living my life, I'm just a witness to his plan. I surrender to the flow, I let go, I let it stand. Isn't it wonderful how the ease and the flow takes me higher, higher wherever I go. Mastery in my mind, in my heart.